I see why Uncle Curtis is always parked in his chair. I could get used to this, right?
It's happened to me, for me, you know, in those years. I shot a TV series with Tyler for 20 years.
Wow, Alan Payne tried to give us the heads up about Tyler Perry way before things got messy. But barely anyone paid attention. His quiet exit from the spotlight, that wasn't just some random fade out. Behind the scenes, there were low whispers about betrayal, secret blacklists, and a powerful system that made sure anyone who didn't follow the script paid the price. Now, the truth's starting to spill. Lawsuits are stacking up, actors are breaking their silence, and fans are finally putting the puzzle together.
Actor and filmmaker Tyler Perry sued for $260 million over harassment allegations. The complaint filed in Los Angeles accuses Perry of creating a, quote, coercive, exploitative dynamic with actor Derek Dixon.
That silence from Payne, it's starting to look way more like a warning than just a personal break.
One of the things in our community that people have to understand is that you can't rely on institutions for your health and for your life.
If the stories from Christian Keys, Monique, and Derek Dixon are legit, then Alan Payne might have been the first one to peep the cracks in Tyler Perry's empire. Let's take it back. In the early 90s, Alan Payne was on fire. He wasn't just talented, he had that kind of presence that lit up the screen. Born July 7th, 1968, right in the heart of Harlem, New York, he didn't grow up with fancy things or easy breaks. His parents, Alan Roberts and Barbara Reeves, raised him to be tough and focused. No shortcuts, just straight up hustle. That street grind and real life experience took him from Harlem all the way to Hollywood. At first, Payne had dreams of going pro in basketball, but when that path didn't work out, he didn't fold. Instead, he found something new that lit him up, acting. And once he stepped into that world, he never looked back. He trained hard at HB Studio in New York City. No shortcuts, no handouts. Alan Payne put in the work, sharpening his skills while dealing with the same cold rejection every hungry young actor runs into at the start, but he didn't quit. He kept showing up, kept grinding, then boom, at just 22 years old, he scored a major win, landing the role of Lance Rodman on The Cosby Show. He played Charmaine's smooth, lovable boyfriend. And just like that, Payne became a household name. Millions were watching him every week, but that was just the warm-up. Alan started popping up on other huge shows. He made a guest appearance on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and locked down a regular role on Malcolm and Eddie. He was everywhere. Then came The Game Changer, New Jack City in 1991. That movie turned the industry on its head. Even with Wesley Snipes delivering a knockout performance, Payne still held his own, leaving a major mark with his raw and layered acting. People weren't just watching him, they were feeling him. Through the 90s and into the early 2000s, Payne kept stacking up wins. He switched it up effortlessly, taking on romance in Jason's Lyric, horror comedy in Vampire in Brooklyn, and even showing up in music videos. He wasn't just another pretty face, he was the full package, heartthrob with real acting chops. Hollywood saw it and they gave him his flowers. Then came House of Payne, where he landed the role of CJ Payne. And that's when things got interesting. Alan Payne became the heart and soul of Tyler Perry's hit sitcom. His role as CJ wasn't just funny, it was real, deep, and powerful. People connected with him on a whole different level. The show turned into a straight-up ratings beast, running for 8 solid seasons and making Payne a star all over again. But then everything flipped. In 2012, right after House of Payne wrapped up its original run, Alan just vanished. No interviews, no film or TV appearances, not even a glimpse on the red carpet. It was like he disappeared into thin air. In Hollywood, you already know, it started buzzing. Some folks claimed he was just taking a well-earned break after grinding for years. But others were saying different. There were darker whispers floating around. One crew member even allegedly said Payne walked off set during a tense rehearsal. Something didn't feel right. The years rolled by, silence. Not a single word from Payne. Fans wondered if he was done for good, but in 2018, out of nowhere, he came back. He returned to play CJ in the House of Payne revival, and the fans were hyped up, but something felt off. People noticed he wasn't the same. His vibe had changed. He wasn't bringing that same fire. Some viewers said he seemed quiet, too quiet, reserved, emotionally shut down. His eyes, once full of spark and swagger, now looked weighed down, like they were hiding something heavy that he wasn't ready to say out loud. Was this just a man who'd grown up and found some peace? Or was there something way deeper going on? Something hidden? Something he didn't want to talk about? When Alan Payne came back to TV in 2018, fans were hyped. House of Payne was back, and so was CJ, the role that had made Alan a household name. But that joy didn't last. It wasn't just the years that had changed him, there was a whole different vibe. People started noticing right away. He looked different, sure, but it was the way he acted that really raised eyebrows. In interviews and even on screen, he seemed quiet, like he was somewhere else. Distant, cold, that smooth, confident spark he used to have, gone. Some folks brushed it off, saying maybe he just matured. It had been 6 years since his last big role after all, but others weren't buying it. They felt something was off, way off. And that's when the talk started. Rumors swirled about why he disappeared in the first place and why he was moving so carefully now. People started pointing fingers at Tyler Perry's inner circle. That's the crew you don't cross. Perry's known for sticking with a tight group of loyal actors, and if you're in, you're golden. But if you step out of line, you might get frozen out completely. So now the question was louder than ever. Did Alan Payne get pushed out, or did he walk away from something he couldn't be part of anymore? Cassie Davis and LaVan Davis, they were always front and center in Tyler Perry's world, locked in, always showing up in his projects, always in the spotlight. But Alan Payne, he was cut from a different cloth. Even when House of Payne was blowing up, Payne kept his distance. While the rest of the cast hit red carpets and praised Perry in interviews, Payne stayed quiet, almost too quiet. Some folks said he was just a private guy. Others started wondering if there was something more, maybe even tension. He barely showed up for press tours, barely spoke on the relationship with Perry, and you could tell there was space there. Then came the whispers. People started saying what nobody wanted to say out loud. If you weren't part of Perry's tight-knit inner circle, your phone might just stop ringing. Fans began noticing how some actors vanished after just one project with Perry. No explanation, no comeback. It started to feel like there were invisible rules, and if you didn't follow them, you were out. Payne's 6-year silence only made the rumors louder. Some believed he didn't walk away by choice. One theory claimed he might have bumped heads with Perry off camera. And then came the most wild part. A now deleted post from someone who claimed to be on set said Payne had a full-blown argument during rehearsals and straight up walked off after refusing to go along with a certain request. Whatever happened behind those scenes, it clearly left a mark. Even though the story couldn't be confirmed, it spread like wildfire. Fans were already starving for answers, and then came the darker whispers. People started saying Perry's inner circle wasn't just about loyalty, it was about control. If you didn't play by certain unspoken rules, you might get cut off, quietly and permanently. Now let's be real, Alan Payne has never come out and said anything about this. He stayed completely silent on the whole situation. But that silence, it only made the speculation louder. People couldn't help but connect the dots, and then things got even messier. Years later, Derek Dixon, an actor from Perry's shows The Oval and Ruthless, filed a massive $260 million lawsuit. He accused Perry of harassment and retaliation, and the claims weren't vague or wishy-washy. They were detailed, direct, and serious. And according to Dixon's legal filing, everything started back in 2019. Perry allegedly noticed him at an event, started a friendly convo, and not long after offered him a small role on Ruthless. It looked like your typical Hollywood break, but behind the scenes, Dixon claimed things took a dark turn. The lawsuit laid out a disturbing timeline. What started as mentorship allegedly shifted into grooming. Dixon said that in 2020, he got invited to Perry's Atlanta home, but things got weird fast. After having too much to drink, he said he passed out in a guest room, and when he woke up, he allegedly found Perry touching his thigh. Whether true or not, the details shook fans, and suddenly Payne's years of silence started to look a whole lot different. That's when everything flipped. According to Derek Dixon, the worst moment came in June 2021, and it was something he says he'll never forget. While staying at a guest house on Tyler Perry's property, Dixon claims Perry came in, pulled down his underwear, groped him, and said something chilling, "Relax and just let it happen." Dixon says he froze. Instead of confronting the situation directly, he tried to diffuse it, switching the subject, trying to stay calm. But from that moment on, everything changed. He said he lived in constant fear, walking on eggshells while trying to keep a professional face. Why? Because he believed Perry had the kind of power to shut his whole career down with one call. By 2024, Dixon had reached his breaking point. He filed a formal complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and quit the Oval, calling the workplace intolerable. That was his word, intolerable. The lawsuit didn't just aim at Perry, it went wide, and here's where it got even more explosive. The lawsuit wasn't just about what allegedly happened to Dixon, it brought up other names too, like actor Christian Keyes. According to the suit, Perry's company may have also subjected Keyes to the same type of harassment. The documents didn't hold back, but then came the part that left everyone speechless and made people take a second look at all those who'd vanished from Perry's orbit, including Alan Payne. The lawsuit dropped a bomb. Christian Keyes was allegedly paid to stay silent. That was the moment fans felt the pieces click. Maybe Christian didn't just go quiet. Maybe he was forced into silence with money. His silence wasn't a choice, it was bought, according to the court documents. Tyler Perry's attorney, Matthew Boyd, came out swinging, calling the lawsuit nothing more than a baseless shakedown. But here's the twist. He didn't deny the text existed. He didn't deny the timeline, and he didn't explain how multiple actors from totally different times all had stories that lined up way too well. That's when fans started connecting the dots again, especially with Alan Payne. His quiet, sudden exit from House of Payne now looked way more suspicious. Was it just random timing, or had he been one of the first to go through something nobody was ready to speak on yet? As the allegations stacked up, folks began re-examining everything about Payne's time in Perry's circle. Not just the disappearance, but his whole energy while working under Perry. The distance, the silence, the tension, because here's the truth. Alan Payne wasn't some overnight celebrity. He built his name through real roles and raw talent. But even with fame from New Jack City and love from House of Payne, he wasn't untouchable. In the few interviews he did give, Payne hinted at deep pain behind the scenes. He spoke about his family being hit hard by chronic illnesses. It was clear. Fame didn't protect him from real-life struggles or from whatever might have gone down behind closed doors. Alan Payne opened up quietly but powerfully about the pain that haunted him off-screen. He described watching his loved ones get sick and feeling completely helpless as they faded away right in front of him. "They deteriorated right in front of me," Payne said softly. "One by one, they were gone." That heartbreak lit a fire inside him. He realized if he didn't change something, he might be next. And just like that, the red carpets, the flashing lights, they didn't matter anymore. He stepped away from all of it and started a journey that had nothing to do with fame. First came small shifts. He gave up meat, then one step turned into many. He went vegetarian, then raw, vegan, diving deep into health and healing. But it wasn't just about the body. This was spiritual too. The pain, the grief, the silence, it pushed him towards something bigger than Hollywood. Faith became his foundation. While others chased the spotlight, Payne searched for peace. He started speaking at wellness events and giving back to communities through charity work, sharing wisdom he once kept private. It's miraculous how God works, he reflected. When you take responsibility for your healing, your belief increases, and as your belief grows, so does your life. Now, fans finally understood. That long disappearance, it wasn't just a career break, it was survival. Alan Payne had stepped away to save his life, not just physically, but spiritually and emotionally too. But for a lot of people, Alan Payne's sudden shift didn't just feel like a personal journey. It felt like a man trying to recover from something deeper, something unspeakable. The whispers kept growing. Stories about his time on House of Payne, about tension on set, about a now deleted account claiming he stormed out of rehearsal. There was no hard proof, but the stories refused to fade. These quiet rumors added to a larger belief that Payne's silence wasn't just him choosing peace, it was survival. It was necessary. And when he finally came back to the screen, stepping back into the role of CJ Payne, fans noticed right away. Something had changed. The fire he once brought, it felt dimmed. That light in his eyes had shifted. There was a weight behind his gaze, like he'd seen things he couldn't unsee. He didn't look broken, but he definitely looked like a man who'd been through something serious. A storm, one that left scars. Whatever Alan Payne faced during those years off the grid, it left its mark. He came back, but he came back different. And still, the one question lingered with no clear answer. What really pushed him to step away in the first place? While Payne leaned into faith and holistic healing behind the scenes, the rest of the world was left spinning with theories. His quiet departure hadn't gone unnoticed, and neither had the shift in his energy when he returned. So fans kept asking, what happened during those missing years? And what was it that made Alan Payne walk away? Right when he was at the top? It all started as low-key whispers, stories shared quietly by folks who claimed to have seen it firsthand. One now deleted post painted a tense picture from the House of Payne set back in the early 2000s. According to the account, Alan Payne had stormed out of a rehearsal, clearly upset after what was described as a serious disagreement with production. The source said Payne didn't come back for the rest of the day, and when he did return for later episodes, he was different. His vibe had changed, more guarded, less locked in. That easy charm he used to carry, gone. He looked like someone holding something in. Nobody from the cast or crew ever confirmed the story, but that didn't stop it from blowing up online. Fans ran with it, wondering if Payne had come close to exposing something bigger than just a bad day on set. Could he have seen or gone through something toxic behind the scenes? Was that the real reason he left Hollywood so suddenly? The theory took a wild turn. People started saying Payne may have planned to speak out but was pressured into staying quiet. Then came the real bombshell, the hidden lawsuit theory. Some fans began claiming that Tyler Perry's team, known for running a tight ship, might have offered Payne a settlement to keep everything under wraps. The rumor that he was involved in a sealed legal case against Tyler Perry Studios, one tied to emotional distress or maybe even workplace misconduct. No documents ever surfaced, but the silence, it only made the theory feel more real. Supporters of the hidden lawsuit theory pointed straight to Alan Payne's 6-year disappearance and his distant vibe when he came back as possible proof of a secret behind-the-scenes deal. But there's one big issue. No court records back it up. Deep searches into legal filings came up empty. No documents, no confirmation, and neither Perry's camp nor Payne himself has ever addressed the rumor. That left everything hanging in that strange space between conspiracy and maybe, just maybe. Some fans believe Payne's silence was about survival, a way to protect himself, but others saw something deeper, something more spiritual. As a man grounded in faith, maybe Payne chose peace over revenge. Maybe he didn't want to drag anyone through the mud, even if they wronged him. Instead, he put his energy into healing and into helping others do the same. Still, no one could deny it. When Payne came back to House of Payne in 2018, something had shifted. His acting was solid, no doubt, but the glow he once carried, it wasn't the same. His charisma felt dimmed. Even in interviews, he spoke cautiously, like every word was being weighed, like he knew how dangerous honesty could be. He's still Alan Payne, one longtime fan said, but he's not the same Alan Payne. It's like Hollywood took a piece of him. So what was it? A silent warning? Or just the scars of a man who had been through more than he'd ever revealed? One thing's for sure, Alan Payne never told his side. and maybe he never will. But while he stepped back quietly, others started speaking out, and their stories sounded way too familiar. Behind the glitz of Tyler Perry's empire, something darker may have been hiding in plain sight. And then, the whispers exploded, allegations started flying, lawsuits dropped, and the stories shook the industry to its core. One of the biggest shocks came from someone fans had long respected, actor Christian Keyes. Christian wasn't just some new face. He had worked his way up in Black Hollywood with charm, talent, and serious screen presence. People loved him. He was handsome, driven, and most importantly, plugged in. Christian had been rolling with Tyler Perry since the early 2000s, starring in Perry's stage plays and eventually landing roles in his films and TV shows. He was part of the circle, or so everyone thought. Then in late 2023, everything changed. Christian Keyes hopped on Instagram Live and dropped what fans now call the first major red flag in the Tyler Perry scandal. And though he didn't drop any names, he didn't have to. He started talking about a billionaire Black producer who, according to him, had been harassing him for years. The story? Wild. Keyes said this producer once offered him $100,000 just to strip. That same person allegedly kept pursuing him after auditions, inviting him to private spots, trying to lure him back to secret residences. And when Christian kept saying no, that friendly mentor-like energy flipped. Cold, distant, like someone mad they didn't get their way. He never said the name, but everyone watching knew exactly who he was pointing at. And suddenly, Christian Keyes, once a staple in Perry's world, was no longer silent. Christian Keyes wasn't just venting, he was warning. He hinted that his refusal to play the game came with a heavy price. He talked about how turning down those shady offers didn't just protect his dignity, it slowed his career down. While others who were more willing got fast-tracked to the spotlight, Keyes said he was pushed onto the scenic route, taking the long way just to stay in the game. And then came the biggest bombshell. He had receipts. Keyes made it clear, this wasn't some emotional rant, this was protection. He knew exactly what he was doing. And within minutes, social media blew up. The timeline lit up with one big question. Who was he talking about? Billionaire, Black, powerful, someone he worked with directly. All arrows pointed straight at Tyler Perry. Keyes didn't say the name, but he didn't need to. And just when the buzz hit full volume, he tried to pull it back. A few weeks later, he hopped back online saying he never named names and didn't want to damage anyone's career, but it was too late. That seed had already been planted and folks weren't letting it go. Then June 2025 hit and everything snapped into place. Derek Dixon, another Black actor from one of Perry's shows, filed that explosive $260 million lawsuit, and this time, he didn't dance around it. He named Tyler Perry directly, accusing him of harassment, manipulation, and more. Buried deep in those court papers, Christian Keyes' name. The lawsuit claimed that Tyler Perry Studios didn't just harass, it allegedly paid Christian Keyes to stay silent. Even worse, it said they threatened him to make sure he kept his mouth shut. It was exactly what fans had feared when Christian Keyes went quiet after that viral Instagram Live. Not that he made it up, but that he got bought. Just like that, the vibe around his live shifted. It no longer felt like a random emotional outburst. It felt like a warning shot, one that might have been shut down before he could fire the next one. People started asking, what really happened to Christian Keyes? What did he go through behind the scenes? And if Tyler Perry really did pay him off to stay silent, how many others never even got the chance to speak at all? Then there's Monique. Way before lawsuits, before Instagram Lives, before whispers turned into headlines, Monique was already out here trying to sound the alarm. And what did she get for it? Dragged. She wasn't just ignored, she was straight up vilified. Her public fallout with Tyler Perry and Oprah is legendary now, but behind the chaos was something raw. Betrayal, broken trust, and financial sabotage that almost crushed her entire career. Monique said it started in 2009, after her powerful role in Precious. She won an Oscar, but instead of praise, she got labeled difficult. Why? Because she refused to do unpaid international press. She wasn't contractually required to promote the film overseas, and she made that clear. That's when, according to her, Tyler Perry stepped in, and what he allegedly admitted next would only make things worse. He did start a rumor that I was difficult to work with. That's the moment everything changed for Monique. According to her, it wasn't just one person, it was a full-blown power move. Behind the scenes, she claims Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Lee Daniels teamed up to blacklist her from the industry. Perry, in particular, was accused of telling flat-out lies to studio executives, labeling her as problematic and uncooperative. And the worst part? Even after he allegedly admitted in private that he made the whole thing up, he still didn't go public to fix it. The damage was already done. Monique was locked out. She says she sat in that career freeze for over 10 years. Before the fallout, she was making $2 to $3 million a year. Now do the math. She lost tens of millions of dollars over something Perry admitted to behind closed doors, but never corrected in public. A private confession didn't pay the bills or restore her name. But even with all that money lost, Monique says the deepest cut came from Oprah. During a private conversation, Monique opened up to Oprah about her painful past and fractured relationship with her parents. And then, without warning, Oprah brought those same estranged parents onto her show. No heads up, no compassion, just cameras rolling. Monique says that moment broke her. And when it came time to make peace, Oprah didn't even offer a real apology. Instead, during a group panel, she tossed out a half-hearted line. "If I've done anything wrong, I apologize to Monique." To this day, Monique says that moment still haunts her. It wasn't just betrayal, it was broadcast. That wasn't an apology, it was a dodge, a slick deflection dressed up as humility, and things only got worse from there. According to Monique, during the Precious promo run, Tyler Perry allegedly pulled her aside into a private room, surrounded by his team. But Monique didn't walk in alone. She brought her own security. And the moment Perry closed that door, his whole staff allegedly scattered, like they already knew how this kind of meeting went down. Monique says he pressured her hard. He told her to do unpaid press she never agreed to. And when she stood her ground, Perry allegedly dangled promises of a massive payday, somewhere between $3 to $8 million, if she just played along. But when she still refused, that's when she claims the mask dropped. Perry backed off in the moment, but later she says he helped launch a full-blown smear campaign. The narrative was set. Monique was difficult, and it stuck. Then came another bombshell. Monique later revealed that even Oprah's former makeup artist, Reggie Wells, overheard Oprah herself saying she'd never pay Monique anything, even though she knew Monique had earned it. That stung. But Monique isn't asking for sympathy. She's demanding accountability. She wants Oprah and Tyler Perry to step into the same spotlight they used to tear her down and own what they did. Say it loud. Say it public. Not just whispers in private rooms. Say they were wrong, say they lied, say they cost her millions. Because for Monique, anything less isn't justice, it's just another performance. They helped ruin her name, and still, Tyler Perry stays silent. Oprah, silent too. But Monique, she's still speaking. Because if they could do that to her, someone with an Oscar and a legacy, then who else did they do it to? And maybe that's exactly why Alan Payne decided to step back from the game. Maybe he saw the truth behind the glitter. Maybe he realized that the industry isn't just about talent, it's about control. A system that punishes the ones who speak up and rewards the ones who keep their heads down and play along. Alan Payne never called anyone out, he never dropped names, but he didn't have to. His 6-year disappearance and the quiet, careful way he returned, it spoke volumes to the fans who'd been watching closely. Because when you line up the stories, Christian Keys, Monique, Derek Dixon, you start seeing the pattern. It's not random, it's not isolated, it's a cycle. Christian Keys hinted at harassment, manipulation, and career sabotage, then went silent. Monique lost over 10 years of work because she refused to stay quiet, to play the Hollywood game on someone else's terms. And now Derek Dixon's lawsuit is out here accusing Perry's empire of full-on systemic abuse. Abuse that makes people wonder how many others were silenced before they ever got the chance to speak. Maybe Alan Payne saw it all coming. Maybe his silence wasn't fear. It was strategy, survival. In a system built to break the loud ones, sometimes staying quiet is the loudest move you can make. In the end, maybe Alan Payne's decision to walk away wasn't just about peace or healing. Maybe it was about survival. And what's truly chilling, how powerful that silence has been. Tyler Perry's empire hasn't skipped a beat. The shows keep rolling, the money keeps flowing, and for every person brave enough to speak out, there seems to be a dozen more whose voices were shut down before they ever had a chance. But even with all that silence, the whispers haven't stopped. The stories keep bubbling up on lives, in lawsuits, through cryptic posts and deleted accounts. And that's why Alan Payne's story hits people so hard, not because he confirmed the rumors, but because he didn't have to. His silence was the statement. No Instagram rant, no expose, just 6 years off the radar and a quiet return that felt heavier than words ever could. It leaves fans wondering if someone like Alan, respected, beloved, and seemingly unshakable, felt the need to retreat. Then what's really going on behind those studio doors? And more importantly, how many other stories just like his are still buried? How many more names have been erased before they could even speak? We may never get the full truth, but the silence is getting louder, and one thing's clear. Whatever Alan Payne saw behind the curtain, it changed him, and maybe, just maybe, we should be paying attention. That's it for this one. Catch you in the next deep dive.